All right, guys, welcome to my channel today. Today we have the Lectric ONE bike here. So I'm going to show you how to put a second battery on this bike today. That's what we're going to be doing. I've also done a lot of other things to this bike. So if you have a Lectric ONE bike and you're interested in doing these things, you want to subscribe to my channel and I'll show you how to do some different things on this bike. What I'm going to do to this bike can be pretty much done to any bike though. They're all pretty much the same bike. You just got to know what you're dealing with as far as sizing and all that stuff, but it's all the same principles. I'm going to do it in a way where I'm going to cut wires on this thing, and that's not something that everybody wants to do. Plus you got to know how to solder wires, and I'm talking about you can't go to Walmart and buy a little soldering iron. These are big wires, guys. You're going to have a pretty heavy duty soldering iron. I have one that I got from a friend of mine that's actually industrial, and they have to get new ones every year or so because they're doing government work and the government requires them to do it. So I have a very nice soldering iron here, and it does the job really well. But again, you got to solder, you got to do it well, get some heat shrink, stuff like that. And again, it's going to void your warranty, so you know it's something you got to consider, and not everybody can do it. I do know if you drop the motor in this thing, again, you'd have to be relatively talented to start taking the motor out of this thing. I've done it on some of my other bikes though. There are connectors in here that you could do it that way. I wanted to go into the battery here just to make it easier on myself, and again, I'm not worried about the warranty. I work on all my bikes. So, and I didn't pay for this bike. It was sent to me for review. So Lectric, thank you very much for doing that. I actually reached out to them and said, hey, I'm going to do some things on this bike, so if you have a problem with that, let me know. And they were like, no, Gary, go ahead and do it. We'd love to see it. So again, I'm going to put the second battery on this thing. I've done some other things. I put suspension forks on this guy. So again, you want to see how to put suspension forks on this bike or any other bike, you're going to want to subscribe to my channel. I still have the folding neck here, but I got rid of the telescoping part, and I put BMX bars on it to get me that riser. I put a little bag on it, side mirrors, suspension seat posts. Between the front suspension on this and the rear suspension on this and the seat, very nice, guys. It's awesome to ride now. Again, you got the slide mount battery here. This is a 14 amp hour battery. Slides in here. This is the mount we're going to tie into. This is my Toe Peak slide mount. So I have a bag right here. This has a 20 amp hour battery in it, 48 volts. I got wires coming out of it. I have a battery balancer in this bag here, and I have a lot of wire, extra wire for the different bikes. I have a 26 inch bike over there. It's the Lectric X Peak, and I use it on that bike. So this bike goes onto these racks. If you guys don't have one of these racks and you're going to do something like this, you have multiple bikes, you definitely want to get one of these, because this goes in, slides right on, and it's on this bike. You can't move it. These are the wires here. I go through the middle here, drop it down in here, and I have wires that are tucked up in here that I pull out here, disconnect them, and connect these wires right in here. So there's a male and a female XT60 here, and you put them together. They only go together one way. I take the wires, tuck them back in here, and then I adjust how much wire I need here by pushing it back into the bag. And like I said, I can do this from bike to bike, and it's a simple way to have multiple batteries on multiple bikes, and it's awesome, guys. So this bike right now is sitting here with 34 amp hours of battery on this thing, so I can go a long ways on it. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you how to do this. Again, I'm not saying run out and do it. Again, a reminder, it's going to void your warranty. So if you're not worried about your warranty, you're pretty handy with your hands, you can do this. And again, you can't use a cheap soldering iron. You have to get yourself a good one. So, you know, as far as like the mechanical crimping, I don't suggest that, because if it comes loose, you're dealing with a lot of wattage here when these things get up there, and you're dealing with some heavy wire here. You know, you're dealing with, I've got 12 wire on this bike. You know, it's pretty heavy duty to put together. make sure you use like copper wire. That's what I used on this. As far as parts, batteries, stuff like that, what do I recommend? The toe peak. I am going to leave my email address up there. You guys can hit my email up and ask me questions, not a problem. I'm not going to leave links in the description or in the comments as far as what battery to use and all that, because it's a pain in the neck for me. I don't make a lot of money selling this junk anyway, so but I would be more than happy to send you guys links to all these parts. Just ask me, and like I said, I'll leave my email, so my email's right here, guys, so hit it up. All right, let's get into it, guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to solder in 2 wires, XT60 connectors on it, one male, one female, because one's going in, one's coming out. So it'll go into a pack up here. I'm going to show you this thing. There is a battery balancer in it, and out of the battery balancer you have to have a male and a female, because one's into the port and one's out of the port. So it'll just connect the 2 wires in. I run this on every one of my bikes. My Lectric Peak over there, I have 2 batteries already on that. One's in the tube built into it that comes from the factory. The other one is one of their batteries that looks just like this that I mounted on the down tube. This is my battery pack that goes from bike to bike. There is a 48 volt 20 amp hour battery in this thing. There is also a battery balancer in here. You have your male and your female. And I have these wires that I bought on Amazon that'll be coming out of here and connecting into these things here. These won't be connected. I'm going to cut these wires and I'm going to solder them onto this. So that's what we're going to be doing here. So I've got to take the battery out, I've got to take this mount off, I've got to solder these onto there, and then, you know, when we're only running one battery, like this one, you just connect these 2 together, and it's a loop, like I said. So these are going to be on there, and it just loops around. We'll have this thing somewhere over here, and when we want to do it, we just connect in these 2 batteries like that, and away we go. So again, you have your in and your out on this. These battery packs, I buy these things all the time. This is another 48 volt. This is a 14 amp hour battery. So this one matches this one. We could run this one. It's a little bit smaller than the 20 amp hour, because the bigger the battery gets, the bigger they get. So that's what we're going to do. Let's get going on it. So we are going to start by taking the battery off of it that's on it. And again, we just key it on and pull it out of there, so that it's out of there. We'll put that over here, and we're going to have to take this off and disconnect the wires from it, and then we will solder them in. So we will try a T3, and that fits. We are going to cheat a little. We're going to use some power tools on this thing. There's 3 plates in here that hold these things on. We have some Phillips screws on the back of this. So we'll take these things out. I know a lot of you guys do not want to do this to your bike. One, it'll void your warranty. I get it. I don't really worry about the warranty. All right, guys, here's the first big step, is to cut that wire. The red one's your positive and the black one's your negative. So I'm going to start by showing you guys how to solder, and I'm going to do a little bit of a demonstration here on this wire. It's just a piece of wire, but I wanted to show you how I connect the thing and make it good. So this is a little piece of wire that I wrap around it after I've kind of fingered it into each other so that it's like one piece of wire, and I wrap this copper wire around there to hold it all together. And this makes it very nice and easy to connect this thing, and we're going to cover it. See, it's all holding together, which is great. So I'm going to show you my soldering iron now, and like I said, it's a nice professional one. I'm putting it in the clamps here so that I can get right to this thing. I'm cleaning that tip. You want to make sure your tip is really clean, and putting a little flux on it there and cleaning it up really nice. and gonna start soldering that thing. So I'm going to, as I go along, I'm going to turn this thing around so we cover all the sides, so we completely cover this thing with solder and make it a very secure connection here. So I'm moving it now so we can get to the back side of this wire, and we're going to add some more solder onto this thing, and again, clean that tip really good and add a little flux, and away you go. So again, coating this side of the wire also, and when we're all done, we are going to put a heat shrink on this thing. And I'm also wrapping it on the bike. I'm wrapping it in tape also to try to make it very good. So here's the heat shrink. You can buy this on Amazon also. Put it right over that wire there. That's very nicely soldered together now. And get your heat gun out. And we're going to throw some heat on this thing, and you'll see this thing shrink right up around the wire. And this is, you know, the way to do it. Like I said, those compression fittings, you can't trust them. I've seen them fail so many times, and you just don't want to do that. You know, if you pull on the wire or something, this is not going to come apart, I can tell you that. So I wanted to show you that. So this is what I'm doing to this wire here, but I'm going to keep moving so that I don't bore people. But I did want to show you guys the, you know, the way to get that thing together. So I'm putting a little flux on this wire now, and again, we're going to, you know, put it together. This is one side of the plug here. So one of these will go back to the controller, and the other one goes to the battery. So that's what we're doing, the in and the out on that battery balancer. One is headed back to the controller, and then the other two join the two batteries. So that's what the difference in these wires are. So that's why when I connect them through, it's connecting it back to the controller, which makes the bike run. If I'm running it on one battery, or if I'm running it on two, I'm just running it through that controller and that, not controller, but battery balancer. So like I said, wrapping this thing up really good. I've already heat shrinked it, but I'm putting more tape on this thing, more heat shrink over it. You can't be too careful here with these wires. So I want to make sure this thing is nicely sealed up. Again, more tape on it after it's been heat shrinked again, because you know, you're driving down the road. If this thing is vibrating and rubbing, you don't want it to go through. So that's why I put a lot of effort into making sure that it is protected from getting shorted out somewhere. So this is the other side that's coming off the battery, and we're connecting this now with the heat shrink, and we've already soldered it up. So this thing will almost be ready to put back together here, and that's what we're doing now. So we got to reinstall this thing in there, put the covers back on, make sure the wires are routed down nice. I did take a little time to get those wires in there perfectly and make sure that this thing fit nice without having any crimping of the wires, because I, again, you know, didn't want anything to happen to them with vibrations and stuff. So just make sure it's very well sealed up when you do it, and you won't have to worry about it. So we're getting this thing ready. I'm putting these plates back on so we can put this thing back on the post. You gotta, like I said, there's 3 little plates on that. Make sure they're back in there. They're just kind of a spacer in there. So we're almost done now. Put a couple more in here, and we'll be good to go. And then we are going to try just the battery that goes on the bike and make sure that that's functioning. We didn't do anything to screw that up. So we're going to put this battery in right now. Again, those 2 T60 connectors are connected together, so it just goes through this one battery and into the controller. I'm going to reach up now and turn it on, make sure the screen comes on and everything, And it does. So now we're going to put the second battery on here, and we're going to connect that up and make sure that that works also with the second battery, and we'll be good to go at that point. So almost done here, guys. Like I said, you know, turn the bike back on, and, you know, make sure the screen comes on, everything's kosher. I put that toe peak rack on, really nice. And we now have dual batteries. So, you know, buy that toe peak if this is something you're going to do, because you can use it from bike to bike. Awesome racking system. I love it. You know, it cost me a little bit of money, but it saves you a ton of time. All right, guys, so we got that second battery installed. It's up there in the bag. We've also got the battery balancer up in here. We've got a 20 amp hour battery there. We got a 14 amp hour battery here. So we've got 34 amp hours of battery on this bike. We put the wires, connected them inside of this sleeve here, so they come out and they go up here to the other battery. Now, to just run the single battery, I can unplug this here and plug this right in like this, and tuck these wires up in here, or whatever we want to do with them, and now we're running on just one battery. So this could be taken totally off the bike. Like I said, I do this on all my bikes. So just to run the two batteries again, we just plug these things in like this. We got the two batteries on there. I'm going to tuck the wires up in here, and maybe down the road, if I really want to get out there, I might buy a 30 amp hour battery. As the prices come down on these, I end up getting them. I've got a couple 30 amp hour batteries here now. They're the 52 volt, but not the 48 volts. So if the 48s come down, maybe I'll end up with that 30 amp hours, and then we'll have a lot of, we'll have to see how far we can go on it though. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I hope you got something out of this and how to put a second battery on it. I believe we could have dropped this thing. There might have been a XT60 connector in here. We could have connected right to it, but it would have meant pulling all this down. I didn't feel like doing it. It's just as easy to do it this way, and that's the way we did it. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that like, hit that subscribe on the way out. Thank you very much. All right, guys, I want to thank you for watching my video today, and if you are interested in buying a bike or something, please check with my affiliate links. That helps the channel out greatly. Again, guys, hit that like and subscribe on the way out, and thank you very much for watching. You guys are awesome. Thank you.